To be totally blunt, I don't know that I even had a business before I started working with Opni. Technically, I had an LLC, but I wouldn't call it
Yeah.
a business. After working with you guys, I've really understood that when I work with someone, I am helping them and providing significant value. So I need to think about what my value is to them and get value in return. That's a business, transactional. Coaching is relational, and there is a relational component of it. Otherwise, I think you'd be a pretty shitty coach.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to look at the transactional component of it to make it a business.
Josh, welcome. Thank you so much for being here and willing to share your journey. I'm sure your journey is going to be very inspirational for other coaches that either A, have already started, maybe haven't gotten the momentum they wanted, or B, are aspiring to build their career coaching business. Maybe they are working full time and eventually want to do this full time. And I think your story could be very valuable. But I wanted to just congratulate you for the success that you're having, the momentum that you're gaining, and everything that you've been able to do in the last, I think, what, 6 months, 7 months,
7 months, yeah.
7 months, because I know sometimes it doesn't feel like a lot when you're in it, in the trenches. But when, as someone who's like spoken with so many career coaches, it is incredible to have built what you've built in 7 months. So there's a lot of kudos that you deserve, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, the first question I have for you is tell me a little bit more about your business before we started working together at Opni.
Sure. I mean, to be totally blunt, I don't know that I even had a business before I started working with Opni. Technically, I had an LLC, but I wouldn't call it a business. So I was in tech for 20 plus years, been a hiring manager for 15. And in 2021, after being a product manager for over a decade, I realized that I wasn't getting a lot out of my product management career, and I wasn't giving enough of myself to it. And so I looked for a way to pivot. I worked with my own career coach, and he helped me pivot into customer success. But on the way out the door, he said, "You got to try customer success because we found it for you and you'll be great at it. But if you ever feel like you don't want to work for someone else, you should give career coaching a try because you'd be good at that too." And so that kind of rattled around in my head for 2.5 years. And when the company that I went to after that folded, I started thinking more and more about it. So I went and I worked for another company that did product manager only coaching.
Mm-hmm.
That was about a year ago. In fact, it was almost exactly a year ago. Um, and I started coaching some people on the side. And in March of this year, 2024, I said, I'm done. I'm done with corporate. I need to work for myself and I need to pursue this full on. And so I went full throttle and started working for myself, boosted things up, and got like one client the first month. And then one of my clients actually said, "You got to check this guy, Daniel, out. He knows what he's doing. He's got an accelerator for coaches." And I checked it out. I wasn't sold at first.
Yeah.
But after talking to you, after listening to what you had to say, I said, this makes sense. And so I started working with you, started building my program. And that was 5 months ago or so. And it's been a humongous change.
Thank you for sharing that, Josh. I think your journey is actually very similar that a lot of similar in the sense of the idea of like maybe there's an opportunity to start a career coaching business. I either have the background, the skills, people within my area around me gravitate towards me and ask me career advice. So it's like, okay, I like doing this. I like helping people. Maybe I can make a living out of this. And if somebody said you're a good coach and I've been able to see you in live make those presentations, I can definitely agree with that, which it just comes so natural to you. You were standing in front of the set and it was like, I could be watching this in a master class, like a master class app, and it would feel like this is not an imposter. Like this guy deserves his own master class. So kudos to that. I want to talk about now that the time that we've been working together, what were some of the biggest aha moments or transformations that you have experienced in the last 7 months?
All right. So no question. The first was think about it like a business.
Yeah.
As you just said, I'm a coach. I think about it like coaching. I didn't really want to start a business. I formed an LLC.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference for me that Opni has made, is helping me think about this as a business to grow. Because if I hadn't joined Opni, I think I'd still be adding one client a month, and they'd be at, I think I was doing like $500 for the package. And like the pricing made no sense. It was
Yeah.
undervaluing my time. I just wasn't really thinking about it like a business. And after working with you guys, I've really understood that when I work with someone, I am helping them and providing significant value. So I need to think about what my value is to them and get value in return.
Yeah.
That's a business, transactional. Coaching is relational, and there is a relational component of it. Otherwise, I think you'd be a pretty shitty coach,
Yeah.
but you've got to be able to look at the transactional component of it to make it a business. And so that's number one. Number two for me has absolutely been understanding that there's a cohort out there.
Mm.
The value, not just of Daniel's time, but the value of time listening to or spending with Adam and Ellie and Nidal
Mm-hmm.
and whoever else, being able to understand that other people have gone through what I am going through, or will go through what I am going
Mm-hmm.
through, or are going through what I'm going through, just has some tremendous social proof for me, and the ability gives me the ability to understand that I'm not alone in this.
I want to talk about, like, you talked about the different. One of the big things is thinking about it like a business. But for me, thinking about it like a business is all about systems and processes.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the systems and processes that you think that we've been able to help you implement that were like, wow, and now I'm looking at it more like a business. So let's dive a little bit deeper there.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, first and foremost, lead generation, right? It is not a, if I open my door, they will just come to me and form a
Yeah.
line and pay me,
Mm-hmm.
throw money at me. Um, you have to be able to generate consistent leads. You have to be able to convert those consistent leads into prospects. You have to be able to systemically convert those prospects
Yeah.
into customers. Wow, I have an MBA and had no fucking clue how to do that with career coaching, because
Yeah.
again, I thought I'm a good coach. People
Yeah.
will want to be coached by me. That's not how it works. And so being able to learn about lead gen, being able to take the concepts of how do I put myself out there in a meaningful way that provides value and gets people to be interested and aware of me, then turn awareness into interest, turn interest into purchase. That funnel
Yeah.
concept has been huge, and I would not have gotten that without Opni.
I think you would have, maybe the timing, right?
Okay,
Like
I would not have. I
yeah,
might
yeah,
still not
yeah,
have
yeah,
that without
yeah.
Opni.
I think like the biggest thing that I would say, and it's because I appreciate the kind words, but I also want to be, like, say that we don't. It's not like Opni is the silver bullet, because that's not like what I would want people watching this. Is to understand like a life is a trade off of time and money, and I think even our time spent together, you are brilliant and you're smart. You're gonna figure this out. And odds are, if you're watching this and you are thinking that you want to start your own business, you probably have the experience to do so. It's what's the what is the cost if you did it yourself? How long would it take you? Maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years. And so, what is the cost of not doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think that's something I want to make sure that people are understanding and seeing that if you were to able to have the systems and processes that have already been proven and worked, not for only one career coach, but dozens of career coaches, and that speeds up the growth of your business, then that's going to get you to your ultimate goals much better.
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
provide maybe a little bit of
yeah,
perspective. I've got 3 kids. I have 3 kids. I was working a full-time job and I was coaching on the side. There was no possibility for me to build a business that was long-term sustainable with all of that
yeah,
happening. And what I've been able to do is, one, systematize things so that I can grow to a point where I did not need that full-time income. I could coach
yeah,
on the side and build my business and still pay some attention to my children.
yeah.
Some, not too much. But then being able to build even more has allowed me to cut back on the consulting hours and do less where I need the guaranteed income, because I'm getting the regular income from my
Yeah.
own business.
I don't know if you remember this, but I remember like if it was yesterday, we were having a follow up sales call. So you had the first one with Samuel, And I remember you telling me, kind of describing like, hey, I'm working this consulting this many hours. This is how many hours I want to allocate towards my business. And I actually told you to work less on your career
You
coaching
did.
business.
Yes.
Right. And
Yep.
I said, Josh, like if I'm in your shoes, right, I would actually work 5 more hours in your consulting business
Yep.
and use that extra money and hire a full-time VA
Yes, you did.
to do the work. And um, I think that's an example of, if you hadn't have gone through the journey before, learning from someone who's done it, like it's not something that's clearly obvious if you haven't gone through it. But I think that was one of the like, you then took that advice and ran with it. And I think it's a big part of it, because you had, the business was being worked out by over 60 hours, but it wasn't your 60 hours.
Right.
And you were able to do that from day one.
Well, I'm still putting in my 60 hours, but the difference is that my 60 hours is now augmented by 40 hours,
Yes.
which means my 60 hours is now 100 hours.
Yeah.
Which is like,
And you're delegating like the things that are like not as stimulating, or you get to work on the higher value tasks.
exactly. I
Yeah.
get to do a lot of the coaching.
Yeah.
I get to work on sales, which apparently I'm good at. I did not know that. People keep telling me that. I will believe them someday. And I get to work on building a business, which I have done before, but never in a systemic long-term growth way. Like, I ran a business for 4 years and it grew $100,000 a year in business. I'm on track to already eclipse that in my first 8 months.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I also want to talk about how has this working together has helped with this system and product transformed in your personal life.
The first thing I'll say is the mere fact that I am working for myself has changed my personal life for the better immeasurably. I was miserable working in a corporate role, and then putting in 20 hours a week of consulting on top of that just made things really, really tough on me, tough on my wife, tough on my family. Being able to work for myself so I can take 5 hours off, I can take a week off if I want. I don't often, but I
Yeah.
can, allows me to feel like my time is my own. And I don't need to take a 6 p.m. meeting and not talk to my kids because that's the appropriate thing according to my full-time job.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is I've been able to put into place some of the concepts of understanding people's needs a little bit better and be able to help other people, one, in terms of coaching, but also two, in my personal life, being able to have just a little bit more empathy. It's always been something important to me, but being able to systematize things to really understand how to grow, how to be better at things, and put that into play within my relationships has actually been really advantageous.
Yeah, love it. What would you say are some of the toughest challenges that you've gone through in this entrepreneurship journey?
Some of the toughest challenges I've gone through. Well, the good news is starting up was not one of them, which was really a big plus for me, because that could have been a real breaking point already at the beginning. Number one, if I'm honest, was the decision to join Opni.
Mm-hmm.
It was a no-brainer from a value perspective, but being able to commit to, I'm going to invest in my future in this
Mm-hmm.
industry, and it's my own money, that's really tough.
Yeah.
But certainly, I'm so glad that I did it. Another really tough challenge for me has been growth. And it's not that I'm not growing, it's that I don't know exactly why I'm growing, or I didn't. And having the opportunity to work with Opni, work with the coaches, and just as much work with my peers
Yeah.
within the coaching community to understand, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How am I succeeding in spite of myself? Which is a big theme here.
Yeah.
Like, has really given me a lot of clarity into what I was not understanding and how I could do it better.
Yeah. No, love it. Um, this this section or this questions are going to be more for aspiring career coaches or younger Josh.
Oh boy,
Uh,
that guy's a punk.
what would you say are some of the advice that you would give your younger self if knowing what you know now?
Okay. Advice I would give my younger self, knowing what I know now. Number one is trust yourself. Your instincts aren't always right. So don't trust yourself that much, but trust yourself enough to know that your instincts are generally good. And if you think that something can be amazing, there's a decent chance it can be. And then number two, work your butt off, work harder. And then as soon as you think you're working hard enough, find 5% more, 10% more, because it's there and you can give it. It's the $20 bill taped to the top of the wall kind
Yeah.
of thing. Um, I have always felt that like I can give more. I'm just comfortable.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like I could, like I wanted to give more until this job. So, number three is this is the right place. Like, this was
Yeah.
a great decision for me. And I don't know that I could have gotten here earlier because I'm not sure I had the work experience, or I'm not sure that I had the coaching experience, or I'm not sure that I had the the gumption
Mm-hmm.
to like quit a $200,000 a year guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
job and start at virtually nothing. But like, it's been an amazing journey in such a short time. And knowing now that it would be, knowing then that it would have made it much, much easier for me to say, okay, as long as I'm going to commit to it, LFG, let's
Yeah.
go.
Josh, thank you for sharing that. I would say you did have like the skills and the coaching. I think what we provide at Opni is the three pillars that we always want to encourage other career coaches to add into their program is like the systems and processes, aka strategies that work, accountability, right? Because we just as humans do better when we're being held accountable. And the third is the community. And so I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate you being here. And it's been a pleasure for me to get to know you and work with you. And I just know this is just the beginning for your business journey, and I just look forward just to continue to seeing you scale it up.
Well, the same is true. I mean, the Opni journey is awesome. It's fascinating. I love hearing about it, and I love seeing you guys make the pivot and help more people. And I'm just glad to be along for the ride.
Thank you.